Shot presents two films made by two young directors. The first, Sculpting in Cyberspace, is about technology hacker Matt Black, who uses all the latest techniques to create computer graphics, rave videos, dance music, and computer games.
Cyberspace is an ocean of infinite possibility, so every possibility exists there. Access to cyberspace can be obtained in various ways. Computer terminal is probably the most common way. I think it's inevitable that we'll encounter cyberspace more and more. It's become a new kind of environment, and in a way I believe that man is becoming a new type of creature which lives in that environment. I'm a technology hacker. I'm fascinated by technology. If I start off with a simple cube here, that just looks like a square. I'll just make it a little bit bigger so you can see what's going on. And tilt it around, you can actually see that it has a proper three-dimensional cube-like structure. Just tilt it a little bit there. Let's change the color of that. See quite a lot of chrome in computer graphics. A nice, impressive looking effect. I think what we're doing is fairly accessible to everyone, really. The younger you are, the better, because then you're not hung up by preconceived ideas of how to do stuff or technophobia. But you definitely don't need to be good at maths or anything like that to get into it. But you need to be into computers, and you need to have a feel for the future. I can very easily turn it into a sphere just by editing some of these points. And if I go back to my world now, I should have a chrome sphere. Okay. I can also start seriously mutating the shape of this by just kind of, it's like sculpting clay almost. It's not quite as intuitive, but it's getting that way. If I draw out a few mad spikes here, that's a kind of pretty mashed up object, but that should look pretty nasty. Yeah. What we're doing is a combination of sculpture and photography. This head is a true 3D object. It's not just a picture. It's actually an object that exists in virtual space. And once I've told the computer where I want the lights and how the virtual camera is supposed to be looking at that object, the computer will then draw a 2D representation of that 3D object. So when you've modeled a nice head, it's logical to add a body to it. And this is a couple of figures here. I've just modeled some stupid heads and stuck them onto these bodies. And I can give them a life of their own by moving them around in different frames and then putting those frames together so they do a funky dance like this. They're just raving away to some house track that only they can hear. I believe that a computer will think pretty soon. And if a computer can think, then it can be creative. I met Phil recently, Sorted Productions, and he's got an Amiga system similar to mine. He's using a program called Deluxe Paint, which is a bit similar to machines which in the past have cost like hundreds of thousands of pounds. And basically do very much a similar kind of thing on a £400 machine in a program like Deluxe Paint.
I'm just creating a squiggly pattern. It's giving me all the symmetry automatically. Going to fill it in with some colours. I can now apply something called colour cycling, which is a sort of animation trick. Requires very little power.
Working with a program like this is quite different. It's like you're painting with light directly on the screen. A lot of what we do, try and do with quite a playful attitude. And the great thing about a program like this is it's instant gratification, really, because as long as you've got some settings right and you vaguely know what you're doing with the program, you come out with something that looks pretty good. Some people might say that's too easy, but I think it's fun. I think people should just have pictures like this up in their living room on the TV, kind of playing all the time. If you look at computer games, they're just targeted, along with much of the world, at kind of the male kind of mentality, macho idea of, you know, you need guns. So when we did a computer game, we had a female heroine, KT, and rather than going around trying to kill everyone, she was trying to save everyone with the power of love. Well, Katie's got to fight her way through various nasty enemies like bulldozers, which are trying to mash up all the trees, and she's got to use her power of love to convert them, really, so they do the right thing. And, oh, I just got mashed up by a businessman. Never mind.
All the graphics were produced using video samples. We grabbed in loads of images from different sources. We mashed them up using various computer programs, and that's how you get all these textures, the forest-like textures, and later on the city textures and that sort of thing. Those, for example, are sweets that have been scanned in. We went out and bought a really big bag of sweets, and then we laid them all out and scanned them in with a video camera, and then put them all in the game, and then ate them.
We also got Katie singing and dancing in her own video. We made a video to promote this, and also put out a record on Ninja Tune. That's going to be a big thing in the next few years. All these game characters are going to be making their own records and films, and also all maybe real-life pop stars and people like that are going to start getting into their own computer games. Katie was first.
Technology.
I think it's quite dangerous to sort of start wagging fingers and saying it's bad for kids to stay in their rooms and be on their computers all the time, and they should go out and play proper games and stuff like that. I'm not really into that. It's up to people to decide what they want to do.
As well as making standard videos, we're also starting to develop products for these CDI machines, and we're producing what might be called digital video albums, which are basically standard audio albums, in this case a compilation of hardcore techno music, with added value in the form of computer-generated visuals. It's different from pop video in the sense that pop videos are the same every time you watch them. With these types of visuals, they're different every time you watch them. You can also interact with them using the standard infrared remote device. So, by wiggling the joystick, I can change the colours, I can move animations around the screen. So, in a sense, what I'm starting to do is generate my own pop videos.
See something that's a cross between a club, a cinema, and a games arcade being quite a good place to hang out.
Everyone's used to going to a nightclub with music playing and with lights playing. What's lacking there, though, is the equivalent visual stimulus to what's happening with the music.
In a way, I think the dance music revolution is just a rehearsal for what's coming now, and that is the power to be able to create not just sounds, not just images, but the whole package yourself at home. Now, you can take that further and make that into a live performance. What we're doing with the VJ style is it's quite similar to scratching and mixing records. You're doing it to the beat, so you're moving images around, coordinating images, chopping between images and patterns in time with the music. I've got a cheap video mixer, which is like 500 quid. It's very like the two-input crossfade mixer that DJs use when you're scratching. It's not like an expensive proper studio mixer, which costs a lot more money, but you can still use it in interesting ways.
At the moment, the technology that drives the images isn't as powerful as the much older technology which drives the speakers and the sound. And what we're trying to do is bring up that technology visually to be on a par with the musical experience, and then to actually link the two together. So you don't actually have a DJ, you don't have a lighting person, you just have one box which sits in the corner of the nightclub, which generates all the music, generates all the images, and even probably does the bar as well and takes the drinks and stuff.
Acid house music is just a music built on a few stupid noises that a particular machine made. And there are certain machines which do video graphics like that. So they're the acid house of computer graphics. You combine that with samples, maybe 3D animations as well. So you have a lot of different flavors at your disposal. and it's just an audio-visual stew. I would be sad if kind of all human contact ended as a result of technology overdose.
I'm trying to avoid becoming a total appendage to my computer, because otherwise you lose your perspective on what the technology is and you forget how it's actually working in the rest of the world.
I do try and go for walks and retain a bit of a human personality from time to time. I think the distinction between art and science is just not very hard and fast anymore. And if you look back over history, you know, some of the people who've been doing interesting stuff like Leonardo and dabbled in both fields, really. I think that's partly what people mean by the Renaissance, you know, and being a Renaissance man. In a way, this is the digital Renaissance now.
The next film, Searching for the Groove, follows talented DJ Deluxe, better known to his friends as Timothy Lycan. When not doing his homework, 15-year-old Deluxe plans to rid Britain of hardcore music and make the club scene a mellower place to groove.
A lot of people, we understand, are driving to work with Tony Blackburn memorabilia in the back of their cars as well, and...
Timothy, when do you want to be a DJ?
No, Mum, not a radio DJ, a club DJ. I first got into DJing about 3 years ago when I was 12. I'd been buying records before then, up in Time Is Right, and a friend had a set of decks, and I thought, oh, it'd be an interesting line of work to go into, and talk to my brother about it. And he said, yeah, go for it.
Dave.
Hi Tim, how you doing?
Any new stuff in?
Of course there is.
Yeah?
How was school?
Not too bad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good day?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one or two new bits. When we first met Tim, he came in, he was a customer, a little bit different from our average customer. He always knew what he was buying, chose very carefully what he was going to buy. Obviously he didn't have much money because of his age. Always knew what records were coming out, quite often before we did, and just chose his records very intelligently. So one day we just, and he was a nice guy as well, so we thought we'd invite him come and join the staff. I mean, since then he's proved to be really, really good. Yeah. In 2 or 3 years' time, he'll definitely be one of probably the best in the country. His technique's excellent now, but it's hard for him to get things because of his age.
What makes me different, I would say, would be the fact that I'm playing music that I believe in, and I believe that should be getting played in the clubs, and people should be hearing on radio in clubs, whereas the big name DJs, or the ones that are up there at the minute, are just playing music, just all the one type of music, and they aren't experimenting and trying different sounds. And that's why I think they're all getting classed as the same. And then at the end of the day, they can't really turn around. They've only got themselves to blame, because they're the ones that are playing the music. If they believed in the music, other music that they like, and played it in the clubs, then maybe they wouldn't get so-called pigeonholed. My main influences are musically all the different types of house music, garage, techno, Euro, and hardcore. I like the Americans. The Americans, well, I suppose you have to say them because they were the ones that started the scene off. right back from the early days of hip-hop, electro, right up until now. The difference between hardcore and garage is speed. Garage is more vocally, more soulful, whereas hardcore is very fast and just mainly samples hip-hop break beats and just speeds them up to about 180 BPM, whereas garage does sample things but does it in a way that they change it and use it in a creative way. Basically, a mix is just getting from one deck to the other deck, like record to the next record, and by doing that, you use this mixing console and the button or whatever you want to call it that gets you from one deck to the other is called the crossfader. You use that. With garage, you usually don't chop the crossfader, whereas with hardcore you do. And I'll just show you a garage mix. To get the records mixing, you use the this here, which is the pitch adjustment or the stereo speed, and basically what it does is just links up the records to the same speed so you can mix them. Basically that's a mix, and with garage you're more inclined to get a smooth entry and a smooth exit, whereas with hardcore a lot of the DJs do this and chop it from side to side. With garage you don't really do that because you want to create a smooth flow. Alright, man. Alright, Lux.
How's it going, right? You got your set sorted out for tonight?
Yeah, I have.
What are you going to be playing?
Hardcore. Down in Paradise.
I know you don't really like playing hardcore and that, but at the end of the day, from tonight they're going to want it.
Yeah.
Think they?
Yeah, I know.
Tim got into the music through Charlie and myself. He was sort of like 12 whenever he was like first buying his records and that. And then he got a set of decks and that, and he just started off at the mixing, and we could tell that, you know, he was going to be good.
Good to hear, like the way sort of doing it all out.
My parents are behind me, as in terms of getting work, 100%, and I respect them for that. But they obviously see there's a danger going in with all the different drugs now and what's happening. But because I'm with my brother and the Music Inc. people, they know that I'm going in with people that are going to look after me.
I first noticed Timothy becoming interested in music when he was about 8-9 months old. The radio was on and my brother was had earphones and he put them on his ears and he wouldn't take them off.
I'm really not keen on Tim's music. I prefer the country and western. This is a little number I wrote myself, one entitled Dear Mary. Dear Mary,
if I had to choose between John's music and Tim's, I prefer Tim's music to John's music.
Dad, obviously I was always listening to his music, he was playing it and that, and but personally I'd hate it. He tried to learn me the guitar once, but twiddling knobs and moving faders has always been meant for me in terms of music anyway.
This is Pulse FM, broadcasting on a frequency of 90.6. Pulse FM, this is Pulse FM.
Pirate radio only play hardcore. They don't play any other types of music, so no one's getting educated. A legal station like KISS, they play all different types of music, but people don't want to listen to all the types of different music during the day. If you're not into that, you're just into house, then you don't want to hear that. So you have to tune in at specialist times, and the same with the clubs. DJs are all just playing hardcore.
I'm playing a lot of house, and there's other DJs that are playing house and garage on this station, so yeah, there's other stations that are playing too much hardcore, but no, we sort of tend to play garage, house, progressive, everything.
If Pirate Radio had maybe broadened their horizon and played other styles of music, and then maybe people would get into them, and then you'd be hearing that in the club. And that's why maybe a lot of DJs that are out there that believe in their music aren't getting up there, because for the simple fact that they're being blocked due to the propaganda sort of that's being put forward in terms of hardcore.
Right, I hope you realise we're only letting couples in now. So sort yourself out in the couples and that's it.
The promoter of Vivid, a hardcore club near the Angel, has agreed to let me do a half-hour spot to test me out for the future. Unfortunately, I'm playing hardcore, but this shows that I'm versatile, as usually I play garage.
And now we're getting ready for the DJ like DJ Deluxe, 15 years old. Check this out. Sound of the DJ Deluxe coming at you, live. One of the youngest up and coming. Shouting out to all the crew in the back. Remember, you're listening to DJ Deluxe.
Mail it to the broken heart.
Tim, how'd you find it?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Tim's set was good and was very encouraging. Is sort of follow the more underground DJs and follow the more underground sound rather than what's happening on a commercial level. That's very encouraging. That means that the kids out there are also on that level, which is what the promoters want to happen.
It looked really good that, you know, you were so...
It looked good. No, but it did because you was really...
Yeah, it sounded excellent.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to train him. Hopefully when he's older, he'll be able to DJ himself down the slide.
Go on. You like scratching? Yeah. Yeah, is it good?
Scratching, scratching,
Scratching, yeah?
scratch, scratch, scratch.